Which one of these is actually worth the money? Which one of these fragrances do I perceive to be worth the value? There's been a lot of chatter in the fragrance community as of late, discussing what fragrances are actually worth the value. A lot of people saying luxury fragrances are just overpriced. But the thing is, there's something for everybody out there in the fragrance game. I've been racking my brain. I've been trying to figure this out, and I think I have come to a conclusion. So today I want to talk to you guys about actual value versus perceived value, and to kind of get more in depth with, the whole business behind fragrances. So let's talk about it. I want to give you my 2 cents, so stay tuned. Cue that intro. What's going on, my beautiful fragrance family? I hope each and every one of you are having a fantastic day. I hope you all had a great weekend. But welcome back to My 2 Cents. My name is Brian, and this is the channel all about helping boost your confidence through the art of fragrance and helping you become a lasting scent memory. Different concept today. Different concept. No reviews in this. Well, sort of. But not really. I'm not going to be reviewing specific fragrances. We're going to break down the fragrance industry. But before we do so, I need to say this. Disclaimer, all these opinions that I'm about to share with you, they're mine. It's my perception, and I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. I just want to have an open discussion with you guys, so feel free anytime during this episode, drop me a comment and let me know how you feel. I'm always curious about your 2 cents. But let's keep it positive, okay? Because I know there's a lot of negativity going on in, not just in the world, but in the fragrance community. But let's try to find the positive within the negative. So are fragrances worth it? Is that Raja Dove sitting up on your shelf worth it? Well, I think there's a lot of things and a lot of factors that we have to kind of figure out. And the way that I kind of look at this is it's all based on the individual. Everything is subjective. You have to make the choice in your life of what you perceive as valuable. But let's start from an investment standpoint. Do I think that fragrances, Raja, Yves Saint Laurent, do I think that these fragrances are a good investment? Honestly, I don't. But again, completely subjective, and it's completely up to you. Everybody collects differently. Some people collect only luxury fragrances. Some people collect only cheapies. Or some people just buy vintage or designer fragrances. Or some people, such as myself, dabble in a little bit of everything just because that's the kind of collector I am. But when I break it down to investing in it, is it a good investment? No, it's not. Because every time I spray that fragrance on, I'm losing money. I'm not going to get the same value out of a fragrance if it's been used that I would if I just had never opened it up. But again, to each their own. It can be a wise investment. Now, it's getting harder to do this, but some people buy fragrances and they decant them out. So they actually see a return from that fragrance. Or you get a bunch of discontinued fragrances and you hold on to them and then, you sell them for an outrageous price. I call it the Beanie Baby perception of value, but we'll get more into that here in a little while. So as an investment, I do not think that fragrances, you will never see much of a return from them. You can get money back from them, but you'll never see the same amount of money from a used bottle of fragrance. Okay, so enough about investments. Let's kind of break down the business side of the fragrance industry. And I'm going to start with Tom Ford, okay? So Tom Ford, luxury designer brand, all right? Tom Ford, I got Oud Wood here. Luxury designer brand. $250 for a 50 ml. That's expensive. It absolutely is. Now, he does have the signature line, which is cheaper, still pretty expensive. But what are you buying here? You're buying a name, a luxury designer name. Tom Ford clothes are stupid expensive. I bought a pair of Tom Ford boxer briefs for my birthday, a few years ago. $150, $175. I can't remember that. I think they were $150 for one pair of boxer briefs. I will say they are the most comfortable boxers I've ever owned in my life, but is it worth the value? Is it worth the name? I see a lot of people that don't find value in it, and that's your perception of the value. I love Tom Ford. I'm a collector. I find value. I find my perceived value in Tom Ford to be quite high. I really like his fragrances. I love his, I love his clothing. Not that I can afford it, but then you have fragrances like Yves Saint Laurent. And why? It's 60 ml, $80 full retail. It's a pretty good price. pretty good price, but they also have a higher end line where they're not so cheap and they are a lot more expensive. They get more into that luxury, category. And that's for people who don't really see prices. You're getting high quality ingredients, you're getting, a really good fragrance, it's French perfumery, so on and so forth. But what designer fragrances have going for them is that they're a design house. So they have makeup lines, fashion lines, shoes, watches, sunglasses, so on and so forth. So they have a big ball of income coming behind and supporting the fragrances, which also means they're able to buy in bulk. That means they can buy bottles in bulk, they can buy ingredients in bulk, so therefore they get price cuts because they're able to buy in quantity and in mass quantities. So their price, their price can be a lot lower. But again, you're also paying for the name. Tom Ford's still expensive. So designer houses really kind of have the upper hand. They can also fall under an umbrella like L'Oreal and Lancome. So you have all these different brands underneath that umbrella. They get to spread the wealth between all these designer brands that they own. In a nutshell, they got a buttload of money. But now let's talk about niche, okay? Let's take Amouage. This is Jubilation 25, all right? Amazing fragrance. This is my second bottle and I kind of am disappointed. I have not worn this in a while. I do love this fragrance, but we're not here to talk about the fragrance. Let's talk about Amouage. All right, so here's the thing. It doesn't cost a whole lot to put the juice in the bottle, all right? The whole presentation doesn't cost that much, but this presentation would cost a little bit more than this presentation. And the reason being is the attention to detail. Around the collar here, you're not going to be able to see this, but around the collar it says Amouage, or I'm sorry, Jubilation, magnetic cap, nice bottle. You get this, it's a custom bottle, so you got this curvature here. A little bit more expensive to put into production, but not that much more expensive. So why are these fragrances so much more expensive? Well, let's talk about luxury as well. Same thing. You're getting, this is a Raja, you're getting a upgraded presentation, a little bit more expensive to put into production, but not by much. Amouage does not have the fashion side behind them. Most of their money and income is coming from the fragrance, the bottle, the presentation. So that means as a brand, they're also going to need marketing. So they've got employees they have to pay. They're also having to pay perfumers, but they also have to pay import taxes because they are from Oman, and they also have to pay, there's a lot of permitting and licensing that they're going to have. But the way that they market themselves, they're not really marketing themselves for the lower and middle classes. They decided to go more for the upper class, people who don't really look at price tags. Same thing with Raja. Now Raja, $4.85 for 50 ml, I'll be honest, I don't perceive that as a good value because it's very expensive. But I do know that there are people who do perceive this to be a good value. They're in a different income bracket than I am, which is fine. Not everybody is the same. We're individuals. We make money, spend money differently. Now the quality of, the juice going inside both these bottles is fantastic. I think the presentations are great. But just like Raja and Amouage, they have to pay to play. Brian, what do you mean by pay to play? Well, they want to get into retail shops. So I'm not 100% sure on this, but being in the whiskey industry and selling spirits myself, I know you got to pay to play to get themselves on the shelves, whether they're giving free product or they're paying, writing a checkout because they want to be that fragrance that you see as soon as you walk in the store. Product placement is huge in the perfume, in the liquor industry. If you walk into a liquor store and you see all those, case stackers, they have this big presentation as soon as you walk through the door, it's because they want you to see them first. It's smart marketing and it's smart product placement. I'm not 100% sure in, perfumery and retail, but that's how it was in the liquor industry. You got to pay to be there. Liquor stores make more money off of it. And in the long run, your company, your brand, whoever you're selling or you're supporting is going to make more money off of it. Now, I don't know how many employees either of these brands have. I'm just taking my knowledge from what I know from the spirits industry because they kind of go hand in hand. Then you have your indie fragrance houses such as For the Scent of It or Happy Land Studio. Now these guys right here, they price themselves low because they don't have to pay for a marketing budget. They're doing most of the work themselves, if not all the work themselves. The presentation is cheaper, it's lower quality, and that's okay. But what they kind of have done is that they have marketed themselves, priced themselves so low, it would be almost impossible, if not impossible, for them to get into a retail store. And if you haven't seen my, live with Michael from For the Scent of It, I'll go ahead and leave a card right up here for you so you can go check that out. Michael even says, he's like, I've had retailers that want to sell my product, but I've priced myself too low. And it's hard to up your prices just to get into retail. Totally get it. But some people, just like EJ, I don't foresee EJ wanting to get into retail shops. He enjoys doing it on his own. He gets more profit from it. So therefore, he prices it to where he's still making profit, but the chances of him ever being in retail are pretty much zero. Then you got an indie brand like Pineword. Pineword Perfumes, if you have not seen my video on this, I'll leave a card right here for you. But Pineword Perfumes, awesome brand. Their eau de toilette's $60 for a 37 ml. $100 for a 57 ml. Some people, I could perceive that being quite high. Quality of ingredients in this are just up there with the quality ingredients of this. Now his eau de parfums and parfums, they are quite expensive, especially for a 37 to a 57 ml. But what he has done is I see him being able to get into that retail market, such as Lucky Scent or Beverly Hills Perfumery. I think that would be a smart idea because these are fantastic perfumes. Now they are expensive. I perceive the value to be good because the quality, the uniqueness, and just how it makes me feel. But that's my perception of value. Again, it's all based on your perception of value. One thing we must remember is that the owner of every single one of these brands and houses, they're the dreamer, and they get to choose the outcome of their business. If they want to be a luxury brand, that's their own prerogative. Therefore, it's, those fragrances aren't made for me. And it's okay because they do pop up at discounters, and then I can treat myself once in a while, pick up a Raja or a Fragrance du Bois or an Amouage or a Xerjoff or a Parfums de Marly, fragrances like that. I enjoy all those fragrances. The owners are the dreamers. It's not for me to say, oh, they're just overpricing things. What I have to say about that is that they're pricing things based on the demographic that they're trying to reach. So this takes me back to what I was saying before about how you can make some money buying fragrances, owning fragrances, and how they can be a good investment. And like I said, it's kind of like the Beanie Baby perception of value. If you have not seen the HBO documentary series on Beanie Babies, go check it out. I'm not going to sit here and explain it all to you, but I'm going to say this. There's a lot of people out there that buy discontinued fragrances, such as Dior Homme. This is one of my vintage batches. This is a 2017 batch. I never wear it. I did not pay stupid amounts of money for this. I paid like 120 bucks. But fragrances like this, you go back to an original batch, you are lucky to find it for less than $250 to $400, okay? I mean, there's a lot of people who are just gouging and outright just robbing you blind. Because the thing is, we have to understand this. If this goes on the shelf at $120, the actual value of it is $120. Not being able to get it anymore does not change the value of it. But for some reason, our perceived value of it changes. Buying vintage fragrances is a lot of fun, don't get me wrong. And I would love to do more on vintage fragrances on this channel. And if that's something you'd like to see, you know what to do. But vintage fragrances, it's a gamble. It's a crapshoot. It really is, because, you get something like a vintage from like the early 90s and, you open it up and it's turned and you paid, $350, $400 for that bottle that at one time only cost 60, 70 bucks. Then honestly, there's no value in it. It's a waste of money, but it's fun. So I need to say that this is just my opinion, but it is fun. And I love finding awesome, awesome vintage fragrances for a good price. Let's do a little bit of a contrast and comparison with the whiskey industry. Pappy Van Winkle 10 year is about $1,000 plus at liquor stores. You're going to pay an arm and a leg for, a 1-2 ounce pour at a bar or restaurant. And since I was in the whiskey industry, I know how much bars and liquor stores are buying that bottle of Pappy for. And it's nowhere near $1,000. You're looking at about $69.99 to $79.99, maybe $100. The price has probably gone up since, I was in the industry 4 years ago. But why I'm bringing this into contrast is kind of like people going out and buying vintage fragrances. They change the value because of the rarity, but that doesn't actually change the actual value of the whiskey or fragrance. Highly allocated products, especially in the whiskey industry, basically the liquor stores and bars get to charge you an arm and a leg because it's hard to get. But does that actually change the value of it? No. But it definitely helps deter our perception of the value. I love the hunt. I love fragrances. You know, that's just the type of collector I am. That's the type of reviewer I am. And that's just the type of person I am. But again, I don't necessarily perceive value in very expensive fragrances. What I do always say, and I will, say this till I'm blue in the face, test drive before you buy. Don't go passing judgment on whether or not you think a Raja is worth $485 for a 50 ml if you've never tried it. Because sometimes you smell something and it changes your perception and you find the value in it. And then you might find a fragrance that really, first of all, should create amazing memories for you, should help boost your confidence, but all in all, should be what you're looking for, should fit into your perception of value. I'm not here to change your mind. I am here to just give my honest 2 cents, my honest opinion on every single fragrance that I put out there, every single fragrance I pick up. I'm not going to sit here and tell you every single time if I think it's worth the money. And here's why. Let's say you are my best friend, which if you're part of this fragrance family, you are one of my best friends. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. But you're my best friend. And you met this woman and you fall in love with her and you guys are clicking, you love each other. But I haven't met her yet and you want me to meet her. Well, you bring her around and I don't like her. You've already found the perception of value in your relationship in that woman. But I tell you, I'm like, hey man, I don't think you should be with this girl. Like, I don't like her, so you probably shouldn't be with her. Then all of a sudden it changes your perception and you're like, oh my God, maybe they're right. And then you break things off. And then later on, you're like, man, I missed out on the love of my life. I never want to be that for you. Let's help inspire each other. I love fragrances. I'm not going to stop reviewing fragrances. I'm not going to not buy a fragrance because maybe it's $400. Maybe I'll wait and find it discounted, which is totally okay. I'm not going to stop buying clones. I'm not going to stop, buying fragrances just because, people tell me I should. And just remember, this is just my personal opinion. This is my perspective. I don't know, don't hold this to gospel. But I've really been thinking about it, and this is the conclusion that I've come to. Do you. You do you. There's a fragrance for everyone. Whether it's a cologne fragrance, a cheapie, a designer, niche, luxury, it doesn't matter. There's something for every income bracket. There's something out there for everyone. And it's your job to make the right choice. It is your job to go out there and have fun on your journey. Enjoy the hunt. Enjoy searching. And figure out what works for you. Don't go broke. Don't get into debt. And just have fun. That's what this is all about. We're all different, we're all unique, but we're all in this world together. So let's work together. There's a lot of negative things going on in this world. A lot. But there's way more positive things. So let's try each day to try and find the positive within the negative. I'm always curious to know what your 2 cents are. And if you enjoyed today's content, if you enjoyed, what I had to say, then do me a favor and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also, leave me your 2 cents. Let me know how you feel about it, but let's keep it positive and let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Not an argument, not drama, just a conversation. Let's see if we can't help inspire each other and let's work together. Sound good? All right, but that's it for me today, guys. Like I said, have a fantastic day. Always remember, you are stinking beautiful. And until next time, happy scent trails.